There are plenty of people in the world that are kinky sexually. Just a short trip into online porn will show you that the variation of kinks and the prevalence of kinkiness is just out there because it's easy to find even extreme kinks without much effort online because everybody keeps it quiet because so many people have those kinks. And the difference is if you have a kink, and most of us do, and you can control it, you can keep it private with your partner, with the people you have sex with, and it doesn't involve other people. It's like there's some girls that are into rape, not really being raped, but that whole sort of fantasy of losing control and being totally helpless, create certain sensations that go along with sex. And there are certain guys that are into raping girls, but not really raping girls because they're connected enough to women to not want to do that, but they like to do that for a sexual fantasy. As long as it's consensual, those two people can have a wonderful, wonderful time. But that same impulse in the guy that, to be forceful and totally control a girl, once that becomes the main point in his life, then he becomes a rapist. Once he loses sight of the humanity of the other person, then that kink becomes an extreme where it is involving other human beings, and that is the point at which it can't be tolerated. And there's a spectrum, and as long as your kinks are within the spectrum where you don't damage other people, then you're fine. Nobody's going to care. But when you step outside of those boundaries, that's when it starts, when you involve other people unwillingly. That's when it becomes a problem. And that's what the thing is with these transsexuals. There are plenty of men and women who want to play with gender roles within the bedroom, and they have a great, great time doing that, and it's exciting and fun. But once you start asking other people to believe in your sexual fantasy, that's when you've gone too far and you need to stop. And you think, well, it's not as bad as rape. Well, it is when they're reading to little children. It's equally as bad, and both things need to stop. And we need to realize that, yes, we are all kinky, and some of us, we all get angry at the world and want to just knock somebody out sometimes because they're just so terrible. But then some people are serial killers, and that is an extreme of that same impulse, to where that impulse dominates their whole life. And that's what's going on with these people. And we've decided to pretend like that behavior is okay. And that's very, very damaging. And we need to start realizing and talking about our own sexuality, who we are, limits, and the sad fact that some people live outside the limits in all sorts of ways and can't be tolerated. The prisons are full of people like that. They cannot help it. It's not their fault, but they still have to be put in a cage because they damage other people.